All right, good morning, everybody. Thank you for your waiting. Now let's go ahead with our lecture on Samadhi. As always, we'll do the prayer first. Yeah, let's sit upright, place our palms together, and concentrate on the prayer below. We take refuge with our kind mental being. We take refuge with Shakyamuni Buddha. We take refuge with all the triple jewel of the 10 directions and the 3 periods of time. Words full of near future, then surpass profound and wonderful Dharma. In hundreds of millions of years, it is difficult to encounter when the same heritage receive and hold it, and without to fathom the Tathagata's true meaning, and without to practice the Tathagata's true way, and without to attain the Tathagata's true state, we vow that we can spontaneously express the Buddha's understanding, Buddha's view, Buddha's wisdom, Buddha's merit and virtue, Buddha's capability and Buddha's state through our actions, speech, and thoughts. We also vow that all living beings can enter into the Buddha's understanding, Buddha's view, Buddha's wisdom, Buddha's merit and virtue, Buddha's capability, and Buddha's state owing to us. So that's our prayer today for today's lecture. And let's go ahead with our review first, okay? Yeah, yesterday we learned a sentence about the the principle about the principle of projection. Do you know projection? So let's go for it. Let's listen to the video and maybe we can review. Maybe we can recite it. Again.
These describe a group of people who lived chained in a cave all their lives, facing a blank wall. All they could see were shadows projected on the wall by the things passing in front of a fire, which was behind them. All they could see were shadows projected on the wall by the things passing in front of a fire, which was behind them. All they could see were shadows projected on the wall by the things passing in front of a fire, which was behind them. All they could see were shadows projected on the wall by the things passing in front of a fire, which was behind them.
Yeah, who would like to recite it? All they could see was things. All they could see was shadows projected on the wall. The things in front of a fire, which was behind them, maybe. Yeah, who would like to recite it? Time for us to recite it. Sorry. Let's double check, okay? Check the text. In the text.
All they could see were shadows projected on the wall by the things passing in front of a fire, which was behind them. All they could see were shadows projected on the wall by the things passing in front of a fire, which was behind them. All they could see were shadows projected on the wall by the things passing in front of a fire, which was behind them. All they could see were shadows projected on the wall by the things passing in front of a fire, which was behind them.
Yes, one more time. And if somebody can recite it, just let me know, okay? Type out 9 to follow it.
All they could see were shadows projected on the wall by the things passing in front of a fire, which was behind them.
Okay, who would like to recite it? I will do it. Okay, Daisy, you first.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Can I read it first and then try to recite it?
Sure, you can.
Okay. All they could see were shadows projected on the wall by the things passing in front of a fire, which was behind them, which was behind them.
Yes.
Okay, let me try to recite it.
Yes.
All they could see were shadows projected on the wall by the scenes passing in front of the fire, which were behind them.
Which
Is behind them. Which
Wait.
was behind them.
Yeah, one more time, please. Yes, that's right.
Okay.
One more time.
Okay. All they could see were shadows projected on the wall by the scenes passing in front of the fire, which was behind them.
Wow, genius. That's true.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Well done. And how about you, Grace? Could you recite it?
Yes.
Yes, good morning. Good morning.
Yes.
Yes, please.
Yes. All they could all they could see was shadow, projected on the wall by the thing passing in front of fell. Yes. Which was behind them.
Which was behind them? Yes, perfect. One more time. One more time.
Which was behind them. Yes. Okay. All they could see what all they could see was shadow. All they could see was shadow projected on the wall by the things passing in front of fell, which was behind them. Yes.
Which was behind them. Yes, perfect. Yeah, amazing. Both of you. I will follow you. Yeah, all they could see were shadows projected on the wall by the scenes passing in front of a fire that in front of fire which was behind them. Okay, one more time. All they could see were shadows projected on the wall by the scenes passing in front of a fire which was behind them. So that's it. Yeah. So we need to get clear about the relations between phrases. Now let's go ahead with our sentence 46 and 47 today, because 46 is very short, and so I prepared 2 sentences for us today. So let's go ahead with the video first.
All they could see were shadows projected on the wall by the things passing in front of the fire that was behind them. All they could see were shadows projected on the wall by the things passing in front of a fire which was behind them. This puppet show became their world. According to Socrates, the shadows were as close as the prisoners would ever get to seeing reality. The puppet show became their world. According to Socrates, the shadows were as close as the prisoners would ever get to seeing reality. The puppet show became their world. According to Socrates, the shadows were as close as the prisoners would ever get to seeing reality. Even after being told about the Even after being told about the outside, this puppet show became their world. According to Socrates, the shadows were as close as the prisoners would ever in their world in front of a fire which was behind them. This puppet show became their world. According to Socrates, the shadows were as close as the prisoners would ever get to seeing reality. This puppet show became their world. According to Socrates, the shadows were as close as the prisoners would ever get to seeing reality. This puppet show became their world. According to Socrates, the shadows were as close as the prisoners would ever get to seeing reality. According to Socrates, the shadows were as close as on the wall by the things passing in front of a fire which was behind them. The puppet show became their things passing in front of a fire which was behind them. This puppet show became their world. According to Socrates, the shadows were as close as the prisoners would ever get to seeing reality. This puppet show became their world. According to Socrates, the shadows were as close as the prisoners would ever get to seeing reality.
Yeah, that's it. This puppet show becomes the world, and yeah, the reader read it so long. Let's double check.
Puppet show became their world, passing in front of a fire which was behind them. This puppet show became their world.
This puppet show becomes the world. According to Socrates, the shadows were as close as the prisoners would even get to seeing reality. So there are three new words within these two sentences, and puppet. What does puppet mean? And as I know that in the text there is some listening part about puppet. Puppet. There is a word puppet appearing in that section. And then prisoners. What does it mean? Prisoner and then reality. Let's go for it. And puppet, what does it mean? A model of a person or of an animal that can be made to move. For example, by putting strings attached to parts of its body, or by putting your hand inside it. Oh yes, putting your hand inside it, and you can use your hand to make the actions. Yes, it's very interesting. And then prisoner, what does it mean? Prisoner, it means a person who has been captured, for example, by enemy, and is being kept somewhere. So this is, and is being kept somewhere. So here prisoners is a sense. Socrates described a group of people, and such kind of people are prisoners. Not because they created some crimes, but just they are chained. Such as the slaves, they are chained in a cave. So such kind of issue you can also call the prisoners. Yeah, those people can be called the prisoners. Okay, let's go ahead with the reality. Reality, it means a thing that is actually experienced, a thing. in contrast to what people might imagine. Yeah, in contrast to imagine. Yeah, so reality is contract to imagination. Reality is contract to imagination. So who would like to pronounce these three words, please? Time for us to practice it. Practice them. To learn the new words now. Okay, Daisy first. Please lead us.
Okay, thank you. Puppet, puppet, prisoner, prisoner, reality, reality. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Daisy. Have you remember it? The puppet.
Yeah, puppet.
Has appeared in a part of listening in us.
Yes.
Yes, you know it.
Yeah.
Puppet. Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Puppet. And yeah, thank you. And then Alice, good morning, Alice.
Good morning. Yeah, I need to hear me.
Yeah, very clear.
Okay. Yeah. Puppet, puppet, prisoner, prisoner, reality, reality. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, Alice. And then Grace, hello, Grace. 3 times per word.
Yeah.
Per word. Every word 3 times, please. 1,
Yeah.
2, 3.
Yeah, thank you. Puppet, puppet. Prisoner, prisoner. Reality, reality.
Yeah, one more time, please.
Yes. Puppet, puppet. Prisoner, prisoner, prisoner.
Yes.
Reality, reality,
Sorry?
reality.
Can you say
Reality, reality. Yes, sorry. Reality, 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 reality.
reality? Yes,
Reality,
thank
yes.
you.
Sorry.
Yeah, very interesting.
Sorry.
Okay, puppet. Yeah, we need to puppet, not puppet, 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 puppet. And prisoner, prisoner, reality, reality. Okay, let's go for this sentence, the grammar issue. Yeah, there are 2 sentences because there is a stop here. Stop here. Yeah, and this puppet show. Puppet show, yeah, have you seen from the video? Yeah, there is a puppet show. Yeah, this is a metaphor as well. Yeah, metaphor, do you know metaphor? Yeah, the people live in the cave and just see their own shadows. Yeah, that like the puppet show. Yeah, puppet show. Puppet show. And yeah, it says that this puppet show becomes their world. So in the shadow, this puppet show becomes the world. The world. Actually, they are not playing the puppet show, because they just live in the cave, and the cave is dark, but there is a fire behind them, and they own a puppet. They themselves are puppets. And this is a metaphor, and this puppet show becomes their world. Yeah, according to Socrates. According to Socrates, the shadows of war as close as the prisoners would even get to seeing reality. Yeah, here is very complicated and it's really hard for us to get to the point. So I like to the second sentence. According to, as yeah, we are very familiar with it because in the Constitution there is a saying according to something, and according to is a preposition phrase. Preposition phrase. Although it is a bit longer, but it is according to. This is a preposition. preposition phrase. And then the shadows were as close as the prisoners would get to seeing reality. So why here is using seeing? Yeah, it's very authentic. Yeah, in the native speaker's way, and because there is a saying, "Get close to doing something," it means that yeah, almost the same. So to this sentence, the shadows were as close as the persons almost seeing the reality. So almost seeing the reality. So yeah, in this way, as something as. The first as is ADV. Do you know ADV? Yeah, and verb. Because clause is ADJ. ADV can use to be describe ADJ. So here the first as is ADV, as close as, and the second as is a conjunction, right? I will double check it. The conjunction, I made it. Okay, second as. Yeah, conjunction, not conjunction. Conjunction. It means, yeah, what does the second as means? The second as strong form is as. The second as means, yeah, used to make a comment or to add information about what you just have said. As. So here is as. It means that let's check. As the person would get close, would ever get close to seeing reality. So here, this is the as, and then yeah, you place the close in between as to make such kind of sentence as blah blah as, and then there is another sentence. So the second as is a conjunction, and the third point is about get close to do something. It means almost equals to do something. Almost equals to. So it's very really, yeah, get close to doing something, not to do something. Doing. Here we need to pay attention to doing. It means, yeah, almost the same. So in this sentence, what does it mean? The shadows almost the same as the people. Yeah, as people could even get to see the reality. Almost the same, actually not the same. Get close to. Get close to. It means, yeah, almost the same, actually not, and almost, yeah, almost be the same. So yeah, here I think it really it needs us to pay more attention to get close to doing something. So that here close should the right place the ordinary. I mean that the normal place of close should be here. Oh, sorry, here. I made a mistake here. Get close to doing something, and then close is a AD. Close itself is a ADJ. So you put close, yeah, in front of the second as, yeah, between the two as, and then use another as to link another sentence. So in this way, it's a bit complicated. We need to get used to it. So that's it. Yeah, and yeah, time for us to follow it now. Okay. to follow these two sentences.
According to Socrates, the shadows were as close as the prisoners would ever get to seeing reality. This puppet show became their world. According to Socrates, the shadows were as close as the prisoners would ever get to seeing reality. This puppet show became their world. According to Socrates, the shadows were as close as the prisoners would ever get to seeing reality.
Okay, let's find out the suggest words sentence by sentence. And yeah, during the shadowing, I think we can one sentence after another, one by one. Okay.
This puppet show became their world.
This puppet show became the word. Let's double check.
According to Socrates, the shadows were as close as the prisoners would ever get to seeing reality. This puppet show became their world.
Yeah, I think we need to know that became the word, because this is the past tense, right? Let's double check past tense. Yeah, if you past become. Yeah, past simple. We need to use past simple because all the whole passage are about something happened in the past. About something happened in the past. So we need to use became. We need to became. Okay, double check.
According to Socrates, the shadows were as close as the prisoners would ever get to seeing reality.
Ever get to see reality. Here, puppet need to stress, need to be stressed. Show, public show. I don't know why show is so low. Yeah, reading is so low. Became the world. According to Socrates, the shadows were as close as the prisoners would ever get to be in reality. So here they are. That the stressed was, let's double check.
This puppet show became their world. According to Socrates, the shadows were as close as the prisoners would ever get to seeing reality.
That's it. Okay, let's shadow the first sentence.
Even after being told about the outside world, even after being told about the according to Socrates, the shadows were shadows facing a blank wall. All they could see were shadows projected on the wall by the things passing in front of a fire which was behind them. This puppet show became their world. This puppet show became their world. This puppet show became their world. This puppet show became their world.
Yeah, I'd like to follow it, to shadow it, please. The first sentence is very short.
This puppet show became their world. This puppet show became their world.
To practice, yeah, who are available now?
This puppet show became their world. This puppet show became their world.
Okay, do that. This public show became the world. The world. The world. This public show became the world. And the other sentence.
This puppet show became their world. This puppet show became their world. This puppet show became their world. According to Socrates, the shadows were as close as the prisoners would ever get to seeing reality. According to Socrates, the shadows were as close as the prisoners would ever get to seeing reality. According to Socrates, the shadows were as close as the prisoners would ever get to seeing reality. According to Socrates, the shadows were as close as the prisoners would ever get to seeing reality.
Okay. According to Socrates, the shadows were as close as the prisoners would even get to seeing reality. According to Socrates, the shadows were as close as the prisoners would even get to seeing reality. Or even whatever get to seeing reality. Okay, let's double check.
According to Socrates, the shadows were as close as the prisoners would ever get to seeing reality.
Okay, so who would like to follow it? The second sentence, yeah, a bit longer.
According to Socrates, the shadows were as close as the prisoners would ever get to seeing reality. According to Socrates, the shadows were as close as the prisoners would ever get to seeing reality.
Okay, according to Socrates, the shadows were as close as the prisoners would ever get to seeing reality. Okay, according to Socrates, the shadows were as close as the prisoners would ever get to seeing reality. Okay, Alice, you please. Hello, the second sentence now. Sorry, the sound of current. Sorry, the sound of current. Okay, Grace, you please, you first.
Yes.
Grace, yeah, okay, I will play it for you.
Yes, thank you.
To Socrates, the shadows were as close as the prisoners would ever get to seeing reality.
Yes, you please.
Yeah. The puppet show became the world. According to Socrates, the shadow was as close as the prisoner would ever get to seeing reality.
Yes, one more time, please. One more time.
The puppet show became the world. According to Socrates, the soul was as close as the prisoner would ever get to seeing reality.
Yes, perfect. Thank you, Grace. And then, hello, Alice. Are you getting back?
Can you hear me?
Yes, very clear. Yes, you please. The
Okay.
2 sentences. I will play it for you.
According to Socrates, the shadows were as close as the prisoners would ever get to seeing reality.
Reality. Yes, first sentence. Read it together.
Okay. According to Socrates, the shadows were as close as the prisoners would ever get to see reality.
Yes, as close as. Yeah, as close as. Yeah, perfect. Thank you. Thank you so much, Alice. Yeah, it's time for us to recite these 2 sentences now. Let's double check.
According to Socrates, the shadows were as close as the prisoners would ever get to seeing reality. According to Socrates, the shadows were Plato had Socrates describe a group of people who lived chained in a cave all their lives, facing a blank wall. All they could see were shadows projected on the wall by the things passing in front of a fire, which was behind them. This puppet show became their world. According to Socrates, the shadows were as close as the prisoners would ever get to seeing reality. This puppet show became their world. According to Socrates, the shadows were as close as the prisoners would ever get to seeing reality. This puppet show became their world. According to Socrates, the shadows were as close as the prisoners would ever get to seeing reality. This puppet show became their world. According to Socrates, the shadows were as close as the prisoners would ever get to seeing reality.
Yes, who would like to recite these two sentences together? Okay, I will do that. This puppet show, okay. This puppet show became the world. This puppet show became the world. According to Socrates, according to Socrates, the shadows was as close as the prisoners would ever get to seeing reality. Okay, the puppet show was the world. The puppet show became the world. According to Socrates, the shadows were as close as the prisoners would ever get to see reality. Yeah, that's it. Okay, Grace, you please.
Yes. Should I did?
Yeah.
Yes. The puppet so this puppet so became the puppet so became the world.
Yeah.
According to Socrates. Socrates.
Yes.
那个花甲。
Yes. Socrates.
According to Socrates, the shadow was as close as the prisoner ever get to seeing 那个新生死 reality. Yes.
Yes. One more time, please. Would you like to try again?
The public soul became the world. The public soul became the world. According to Socrates, the shadow was as close as the prisoner ever gets to see in reality.
Yes. Perfect now. Thank you so much. Yeah, Grace, we can get more familiar tomorrow. Okay, thank you. And then Alice, your turn to recite these two sentences.
Yes. Yeah. This puppet became their world. According to Socrates, the shadows were as close as the prisoners would ever get to see reality.
Wow. And the first sentence, would you like to repeat it?
Yeah. You want me repeat this sentence? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, the first one, the first sentence.
The first one, okay. This puppet became, this became the word.
Yes, this puppet show. Yeah,
Oh, yes, this puppet show. Yeah.
Yes. Let's double check. Yeah, there is this puppet show.
The puppet show became their world.
This puppet show became the world.
According to Socrates, the shadows were as close as the prisoners would ever get to seeing reality.
So that's all for today's lecture. Yeah, thank you so much for your active participation. Let's see each other tomorrow. Okay, catch you up next time.